The St. Jude Hospital was not built for the living at night. It was an ancient red brick fortress sitting alone on a hill, overlooking a city that had long forgotten its secrets. Tonight, a massive hurricane was tearing through the coast. The wind whistled through the thin cracks of the windows, sounding like the screams of 1,000 ghosts. Dr. Clara sat in the emergency ward. She was the only senior surgeon on duty. The neon lights above her flickered on, off, on, off. She had worked here for 10 years, but tonight, she felt a strange, cold shiver crawling down her spine. The coffee in her mug was cold, bitter, and black. At exactly 2 a.m., the security monitors hissed with static. Through the gray rain, a black ambulance arrived. It had no license plates. It had no sirens. It was a silent shadow. 2 men stepped out. They wore long gray trench coats and black sunglasses, even in the pitch-black storm. They moved with a terrifying synchronization, like machines made of flesh. They pushed a stretcher through the heavy metal doors. The body on the stretcher was covered in a thick, snow-white silk sheet. It was so flat, so still, that it didn't even look like a human was underneath. "Patient for room 0, the taller man said. His voice was a flat, metallic rasp. Clara stood up, her heart hammering against her ribs. "I'm sorry, room 0. I have memorized the map of St. Jude. We have rooms 101 to 505. There is no room 0. The man did not argue. He reached into his coat and pulled out a black leather folder. It was stamped with a gold seal from the Ministry of National Security. The letter inside was short. Direct Dr. Clara to the service elevator. Enter code 0000. Do not speak. Do not record. This is a matter of life and death. Clara's hand shook as she held the folder. She felt the weight of a dark authority. She led the men to the back of the hospital, to an old elevator used for moving laundry. She entered the code. The elevator didn't go up. It groaned and descended deep into the earth far below the basement, far below the morgue. The doors opened to a white, sterile hallway that smelled of ozone and expensive chemicals. At the end was a steel door with a large, red 0 painted on it. They pushed the patient inside and connected her to machines that Clara had never seen in any medical textbook. "You are the only doctor authorized for this ward," the man whispered. "If a single word leaves this room, you will not just lose your job, you will cease to exist." The door locked with a heavy, electronic clack. Clara was trapped in the silence with a mystery that was about to change everything. Clara stood paralyzed in the center of the room. The air was thin and cold. She looked at the patient. The girl was small, perhaps 25 years old. She was wearing a tattered silk gown that looked like it belonged to a queen. Her face was wrapped in bandages, leaving only her mouth and eyes visible. Clara checked the monitors. Heart rate, exactly 60 beats per minute. Blood pressure, 120/80. It was too perfect. It wasn't biological. It was like a computer program was running a human body. Then, she looked at the fur bag hanging next to the bed. It wasn't giving fluids to the patient. It was drawing a thick, glowing blue liquid out of the girl's arm. The liquid pulsed with a soft, ethereal light, like liquefied diamonds. "What are they doing to you?" Clara whispered, her voice trembling. "They are taking my time," a voice replied. Clara jumped back, nearly knocking over a tray of surgical tools. The girl's eyes were open. They weren't brown or blue. They were electric, glowing turquoise. They were eyes made of light. "My name is Anna," the girl whispered. Her voice was weak, like a fading echo in a canyon. "But in this place, I am just a resource. I am a miracle they stole from the world." Anna grabbed Clara's wrist. Her skin was freezing, like ice found at the bottom of the ocean. "Look at the computer, doctor. Look at the files for Project Phoenix. You need to understand the crime you are part of." Clara hesitated. She looked at the security camera in the corner. Its red eye was watching her, but the need for truth was stronger than the fear of death. She sat at the terminal and bypassed the encryption. What she found made her feel physically sick. Anna was a biological anomaly, a human whose body produced a rare protein that could stop cellular aging and cure any terminal illness. It was a fountain of youth in human form. The files contained a list of subscribers, kings, billionaires, politicians. They were paying $50 million for a single dose of Anna's blue blood. And the man in charge of the extraction, Dr. Miller, the director of St. Jude, to man Clara called her mentor. He isn't curing people, Anna, Clara whispered. He is selling pieces of you. He is treating you like a battery. He has been doing this for 5 years, Anna cried. Her tears were blue, staining the white bandages. Every night they drain me. Every day I die a little more. Please, Clara, you are a doctor. You took an oath. Save me ... or kill me. Just don't let them take any more. Clara looked at the door. She looked at the blue light in the bag. She realized she wasn't just a doctor anymore. She was a witness to a crime against humanity. Suddenly, the intercom hissed. A voice filled the room. It was Dr. Miller. He sounded calm, disappointed, and incredibly dangerous. Clara ... I always admired your curiosity. But curiosity is a disease in this hospital. And I think it's time for your treatment. You're a monster, Miller, Clara shouted at the ceiling. This is slavery. This is murder. No, Clara, this is progress, Miller replied. The world belongs to those who can live forever. And you are just a temporary problem. The vents in the room began to hiss. A thick, white sleeping gas started to fill the chamber. Anna, we have to go. Now, Clara grabbed a heavy fire extinguisher and smashed the electronic lock of the door. Spark, pop, boom, the door swung open. Clara helped Anna stand up. The girl was weak, her legs shaking like a newborn deer. They stumbled into the white hallway. Red emergency lights began to pulse. We-oh-oh, the guards are coming. Clara shouted. She didn't head for the elevator. That was a trap. She remembered the old blueprints of the building. She led Anna to the laundry chute, a vertical metal tunnel that dropped straight to the basement's industrial cleaners. Jump, Clara commanded. They fell through the darkness, sliding down the smooth metal, and crashed into a pile of dirty, blood-stained sheets. The room was hot and filled with steam. Find them, search every floor, kill the doctor. The guards' voices echoed from the stairwell. Clara found a small maintenance door leading to the old tunnels under the city. Anna, go. Follow the lights, it leads to the subway. What about you? Anna asked, her glowing eyes filled with terror. I have to stay. I have to get the files, Clara said. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small glass vial she had filled with Anna's blue blood. Go. If I don't make it, show this to the world. I have to stay. I have to get the files, Clara said. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small glass vial she had filled with Anna's blue blood. Go. If I don't make it, show this to the world. Clara pushed Anna into the tunnel and locked the door behind her. She turned around just as the gray-suited men burst into the laundry room. Their guns were raised. Clara stood her ground, holding the blue vial like a holy relic. Clara didn't fight. She ran. She led the guards on a chase through the twisting corridors of the hospital, using her knowledge of the building to stay one step ahead. Finally, she broke through a window on the ground floor and disappeared into the storm. She ran for miles through the freezing rain until she reached the central police station. She was covered in mud, her white coat was torn, and her eyes were wild. I have evidence, she screamed at the desk sergeant. Project Phoenix, Room 0, Dr. Miller is harvesting a girl in the basement. She reached into her pocket to pull out the glowing blue vial. But as she held it up to the light, her heart stopped. The blue glow was gone. The liquid was clear. It looked like plain, ordinary tap water. What is this, lady? The sergeant asked, looking at her with a mix of pity and suspicion. No. It was blue. It was a miracle, Clara shouted, her voice breaking. At that moment, the door opened. Dr. Miller walked in. He looked tired, worried, and fatherly. He looked like a man who had been searching for a lost child. Officer, I am so sorry, Miller said softly. Dr. Clara has been under immense pressure. She had a psychological breakdown tonight. She attacked a patient and stole a saline syringe. We've been looking for her everywhere. He's lying. Check the basement. Use the code. Clara screamed as the officers grabbed her arms. They took her back to St. Jude. They went to the elevator. They entered the code 000, but the elevator didn't go down. It went to the 4th floor cafeteria. They went to the basement. There was no white hallway. There was no room 0. There was only a dusty storage room filled with broken furniture and old boxes. There was no smell of ozone, no Anna, no men in gray suits. Miller leaned in and whispered in her ear so the police couldn't hear. The world is a stage. Clara, and I own the theater. Did you really think you could win? Clara was committed to the psychiatric ward of her own hospital, not as a doctor, but as a patient. Every day, they give her pills that make her mind feel like it is filled with fog. They tell her Anna was a ghost. They tell her room 0 was a dream caused by exhaustion. But Clara knows. She looks at her reflection in the glass of her door. Her eyes are changing. Every morning, they get a little bit brighter. Every morning, they look a little more like electric diamonds. One night, the intercom in her cell clicked on. There was no voice, just the sound of a music box. And then, a whisper that didn't come from the speakers, but from inside her own head. Thank you, Clara, the blue is in you now. Outside, in the dark parking lot, a black ambulance arrives. 2 men in gray suits step out. They look up at Clara's window and smile. Dr. Miller is still the director. The billionaires are still young. And the secret of room 0 is still there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the next doctor to ask the wrong question. This has been a story of Behind the Scrub. The next time you walk down a hospital hallway at night, look at the elevator. If you see a button for a floor that shouldn't exist, don't press it unless you want to become a memory. Thank you for listening. Keep your eyes open. Good night.